finally, a source of raw, real, and honest information on healthcare issues that matter most. Welcome to BS Free MD. From the latest medical information to how to stay sane as a doctor or a patient, no subject is taboo, no BS is allowed. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Doctors May and Tim Hindmarsh.
Welcome back to Doctales with Cocktails. Everybody in the bar is getting tipsy. Think I want a double shot of it. Okay, if I hear that song one more time, my head will explode.
When did you hear that song? And I was just gonna.
I hear it at work because we have
work.
Yes, because we have. I'm gonna move that just a little tiny bit because we have like streaming music from XM radio or whatever, and it gets very overplayed. Shabuzi. Thank you, Shabuzi. You were going to join the, let's see, how many other one-hit wonders are out there? The most famous is the one by Rupert Holmes. What's that?
I don't know. You're on a tangent already.
Yes.
Welcome to BS Free MD. As Tim said, Doctales with Cocktails, where we like to have a cocktail of the evening.
I may have been pre-gaming.
Because
that may be the case.
Yeah, because he met the official night sponsor.
I did. Well, not sponsor yet, but hopefully.
Well,
yes.
They sponsored you a cup, right? Or did you have to buy that?
I had to
anyway,
buy
okay.
it.
Oh, they didn't.
I'll tell you the details.
And what else? We've been doing a little construction. Anyway, we're here tonight to talk about some crazy news stories of the week.
Like the first story. Again, it's one of these. If I was on a desert island for 200 years, I don't think I'd ever come up with this.
Okay. So we got some crazy news stories of the week. What else you got for us?
Well, we're going to discuss a little bit. We're going to talk about physician fat shaming.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the Brian Thompson murder because I think we should. That may be, something for another episode, but I think it's important to address that from our perspective because we have been
for those
healthcare.
Who haven't been under a rock, who is Brian Thompson?
He was the former CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
There you go. Okay. Well, I thought I should clarify because we have a lot of friends. Well, not a lot. We have a friend that doesn't watch the news. Didn't know about, I don't know. It could be World War III. Anyway, some people don't know who he is. So it's good to just clarify because they would know the CEO of UnitedHealthcare got sadly offed, but they forgot his name. And I thought I had some other wacky news for you too. So we'll see.
I have one. We'll see because I have a feeling these stories are going to take on a life of their own.
Well, I'll keep you reeled in. We'll keep this baby on time. And for those of you joining us on the live stream, please send your comments. No concerns or questions, just comments.
No medical questions. Comments, love, and finger paintings are all accepted.
And we will respond in kind. All righty, take it away.
All right, so here we go. This one, I wasn't sure what to put this under, so I decided to put it under my favorite, which is safe and effective. Yes. Why is this a show or this story safe and effective? This one is pretty crazy. Inmates hatch astonishing plot to get pregnant in jail without even meeting. Yes, just in time for Christmas, like the Virgin Mary. Actually, not like the Virgin Mary at all, but hey, whatever. What do we call that?
Was the Virgin Mary in prison?
No. No. So you have to read the story to believe it because the details are amazing.
So why don't you summarize it for us?
Well, I'll summarize it, and then you have to read some of the prose from the Daily Mail because it's so good. 2 inmates in solitary confinement. Okay.
Not together.
Nope. Have revealed the exceedingly unusual way they got pregnant without even meeting. Daisy Link, 29, gave birth to a baby girl on June 19th while serving time in the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center in West Miami-Dade, Florida. Of course it's in Florida. There's where else could it possibly be? The pregnancy confounded Link's family, blah, blah, blah. And her father was another inmate the father of the baby was Joanne DePaz, 23, who is also accused of murder. Instead, the couple explained DePaz passed his seed through air conditioning vents in the cells.
Now, well, I'll let you finish before I ask all the questions. Keep going.
Okay. They began a romantic relationship by speaking. Their air conditioning vents were connected so they could talk to each other. So, which is interesting. So they became attracted to each other and sparked up this relationship through just speaking to each other through the air conditioning vents. Being in isolation for so long, you begin to spend hours and hours talking to this person, and to the point where it's almost as if you're in the same room as them, except you aren't because you're in solitary confinement. I'm not going to get to that. Blah, blah, blah.
Why don't you just explain how she actually got pregnant then?
Okay. I will read this exactly. So they realized that they could use a sheet, tear a sheet, and then like run the sheet between the air conditioning vents and transport things.
That explains, because I was like, what tools do they have to transport anything through an air conditioning vent?
Tools were used, trust me.
So she gets a package in the mail via air conditioning vent.
Correct. But this is the best
quote. And
it
arrived wrapped in what?
This is the best quote.
With a bow on it?
Wrapped in what? I put the semen in saran wrap every day for like 5 times a day for like a month straight.
Oh my gosh.
He recounted.
Sick. Oh my gosh.
5 times a day.
That's just
for a month. And then she used a yeast infection applicator to push said saran wrapped seed through the celestial portal.
A whole more than a month's worth of. You got to wonder how potent some of that
is
stuff
150.
After, I mean, a lot of it would just
do you
be,
lose?
I'm going to get technical here, but honestly,
she's a miracle baby. She's a blessing.
All that really counted was the last, I want to be politically correct. All that would really matter in that sample is the last one.
Well,
in that package is the last one, because all that other stuff from a month ago is dead.
You have one live swimmer, you're good to go.
Well, that's all that would be.
But this is great. So then they take the story to the next level and they talk to a fertility specialist, right? Dr. Fernando Ackerman, the medical director of Fertility Center of Miami, told the news station the chances of their plan resulting in a successful pregnancy are slim, but not impossible. Well, no shit, Sherlock. She actually had a kid. We estimate the probability at 5%.
That's pretty high, honestly, doing that.
Yeah, but you're in solitary confinement. What else are you going to do, right? Like,
well, what else is he going to do?
Right? Like, it's so.
But yeah, I think I'll just find some air duct with some.
It says here later
fluid in it to play with.
was treated for Palmer burns. No, I just made that up.
Dehydration.
She said, "I think our baby is going to be something great," and they named her Saran.
Yeah.
No, I made that up too. They were going to name her Cellophane, but that's too creepy.
Saran. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Saran.
What's your name?
It wasn't like, I don't know. I was going to think of something lame, like what did people name kids at Christmas or Joy or
but
Precious?
Can you imagine
Miracle?
Can you imagine, like, just fast forward 4 or 5 years from now?
Like, that's worse than the turkey baster story we shared years ago.
Mommy, how did you meet Daddy? Well, we were both in jail for murder.
Yeah. So
we started talking through the air conditioning vents, and one thing, leads to another.
So
and where did he get the saran wrap?
I know.
For 5 times a day for a month.
To smuggle it off of the food tray or something.
Like, I mean,
you think?
No, like, but seriously,
I bet you smuggled it off of
like does a guard?
But would
like,
they have
you get a
saran
wrap, like a certain
I don't
cache
know,
of saran wrap?
You could like commit murder on a prison guard by covering their mouth with that and strangling.
Well, no, that's exactly it. Like, where does all the saran wrap
maybe
come
works
from?
in the kitchen and volunteers. So we have heard of wacky insemination stories like this before. This is not our first one in our career.
It's not our first insemination rodeo.
We've seen some weird stuff, obviously, but man, it just made me, and I'm sure you think immediately of the story where someone called in because they were concerned about their wife who was being inseminated on the kitchen table with the turkey baster.
And they called the doctor's office to
using was it the neighbors?
I think it was
the neighbor's specimen that they were using because the husband was sterile, but the neighbor donated it in what kind of container, I don't know, but they were using a turkey baster to suck it up and insert into her. And then they called in
the middle of
the procedure.
They called the doctor's office.
They called into our clinic to one of our MAs, and I'm trying to remember what was going on that they were worried about. How long she had to lay there, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the response of the MA was perfect. She just took the phone and yelled, "Stop."
I think it was, "Dear God, please stop."
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
That is crazy.
We've seen some other wild stuff as well, but as far as crazy ways to get pregnant, that's kind of up there with it. That tops the cake. All right. Anybody, if you've heard of some wacky stories, post it in the comments. Love to hear from you. All right. What else have you got for us?
I have this unbelievable story. This is actually, again, right? If you want crazy stories, especially medical ones, you don't have to go any further than Florida or the Canada. So this one, I'm putting this one under see idiocracy as a prophecy. So this is insane. Intersectional feminist insists medical care is a human rights abuse.
Okay. Well, I already want to know what an intersectional feminist is.
I don't have a clue what it is, but
is this some new thing that's on the XYZ platform?
She is a self-proclaimed, if you read the article, fat intersectional feminist. So she got pregnant. She went to the doctor. She's super morbidly obese. So I think her BMI was, 45 or 50, like really like dangerously obese, right? Mm-hmm. And so then she lived in a smaller community without tertiary level healthcare, neonatology, et cetera, right? So the physician that she was seeing, rightly so, said, well, you need to deliver in a higher level of care because you're so obese, you're a danger to yourself and to your child, especially the child, right?
Right.
Which, it's common sense. And she freaked out and said, I'm being fat shamed. I want to deliver my baby in the rural hospital, and screw you. And she took the case to the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal because she has a right to deliver wherever she wants, and being fat doesn't matter because, of course, that's not a medical diagnosis. And you sit there and you go,
I'm just listening.
How is this possible? I mean, she's putting herself at some risk, actually pretty significant risk getting pregnant at all.
Right.
If you have a BMI of 45, but she's putting the baby at really significant risk. And they went after the doctor and they all backed down, and somebody took her as a patient and she delivered in the rural setting. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable and insane, because this idea that like anything that makes you different is makes you a minority or a victim or a oppressed person. No, like guess what? You can eat so many Cheetos that you become so fat that you oppress yourself. I get it. It's hard to lose weight. I get it. We live in a country but you know what? It's not an immutable characteristic. It's not the color of your skin. It's not your gender. I'm sorry, your sex. Gender all that bullshit can screw up. Seriously. It's not an immutable characteristic. If you're fat, you can become unfat. That's real. And it's a medical
Pretty
problem.
much. Yes.
Right? It's a medical problem. If you drink too much or use heroin or snort cocaine, you can stop those behaviors. Yeah, but it's really hard. Yes, but you can still stop them. It's not impossible. Changing from black to white is actually impossible.
True. Well,
so I mean,
there's so many of those stories. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, but this stuff needs to be shot. Like, it needs to be mocked and shamed and pushed out of our society because it's dangerous and stupid and wasteful.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It gets all the attention.
Okay, this one is just insane. This story.
That blew my ears off. I don't know about everybody else.
I put that one in.
You need to turn the volume down on some of those sound effects.
I don't know. I put that one in.
Holy cow.
I put this one in the shit happens category.
Yeah, that's okay.
Which is
eardrum rupture happens.
Okay, get this. This is insane. Thank God it wasn't in Florida. Texas doctor gets 190 years in prison. And they actually asked a very salient question in this throwaway journal. Why didn't his past misdeeds alert colleagues sooner?
This is not Dr. Death, is it?
No, completely. No, this guy was.
We talked about before.
This guy was like legitimately
psycho.
This guy was legitimately psychopathic.
Well, I think so. It was Dr. Death.
Well, he was. Yeah, but I don't know.
Dr. Death. That's a great mini series, by the way, that you have to watch. Is it Christian Slater and?
No, Christian Slater is unbelievable.
Alec Baldwin, but who's the star?
Unknown guy. Don't know.
Yeah, that plays Dr. Death, who butchered all these people when they were having back surgeries, spine surgeries.
So check this out, though.
True story.
Like, listen to the story. A Dallas anesthesiologist was sentenced Wednesday to 190 years in prison for injecting a nerve-blocking agent and other drugs into bags of intravenous fluid at a surgical center where he worked, leading to the death of a co-worker and causing cardiac emergencies for several patients. The emergencies began 2 days after Ronaldo Riviera Ortiz Jr. Boy, I bet you senior's proud, don't you think?
Keep reading.
My son's a doctor. Yeah, but he's the doctor that put all the nerve agents and killed the patients.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you shouldn't be proud. Just say.
Okay, what happened?
Was notified of a disciplinary inquiry into an incident during which an allegedly deviated from the standard of care during an anesthesia procedure where a patient experienced a medical emergency.
What did he do?
Okay, here's the part that gets...
We want to know, what did he do?
Here's the part that gets really crazy. Ortiz, who had a history of disciplinary actions against him, complained to the other physicians that the center was trying to crucify him. Okay. I have dealt with this.
Yeah, but we don't know what he did yet.
He put nerve agents in the IVs. He spiked the IVs with
I'm
drugs.
Sorry. Somehow I got hung up on something else you said. I'm sorry. My brain has not been tracking. Okay.
But that is a pattern you see in these people, is that they have this Messiah complex where they're the one that's getting crucified, even though they have this massive.
Well, he's psycho.
Well, of course, but the fact is, psycho doctors still get jobs. That's what's insane.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, it honestly makes me happy that we live and I work in Florida, because I had. I sat down with the board of medical examiners because I had not done any American exams. And in Florida, that means that you have to talk to them about, your past record. And I got, rubber stamped, which was fine. I mean, that's good. I have no issues. But you got to see everyone else with issues sit there for 4 hours and explain why they needed a license. And it's fascinating.
Oh, it is like a Seinfeld
unbelievably fascinating. Because
when I was in the boardroom doing that, I'm sure your experience was
it's unreal.
Exactly the same. The stories that you hear of people. And I just shook my head and I'm thinking, how on earth can you practice anytime ever again, having listened to I wouldn't want you to be my doctor.
Well, you shouldn't be practicing.
Or my neighbor's doctor, or my patient's doctor, or anybody's doctor. When you listen to the litany of
You shouldn't be practicing at the Legoland little mini hospital with the Lego people.
Yeah, you get to literally hear everybody's.
But it's amazing because people. What happens is there's a personality, like there's a antisocial personality or something, and it comes out immediately, even with authorities. Like you go in there, and even if you think these guys are dumb, they have 100% control over your life at that point. Like if you want a medical license, they're it, right? There's like 8 people there and they decide your future. So being a jerk to them doesn't really make any sense because they just want to get, through their day and go on to something else. And they don't want to be there all day. And you listen to these people that have had a license in 5 different states, and every place they worked, they got in trouble. And it's never their fault. and like the guys, the state of Florida, like officially look at it, they go, no. And it's like, what do you mean, no? I've been crucified. Like literally, I've been crucified. It's like, okay, so every hospital you worked in was filled with people that were like against you because you're the greatest, because you're the Messiah. I mean, it's so wild. And you see it, like I was on credentials committee for a hospital system for years. And you see this over and over and over and over. I'm not a drug addict. My wife injected morphine in me when I had a headache and I didn't know it. And I'm like, what?
Is that why I always wake up feeling better after I go to bed with a migraine? You've injected me with morphine in the middle of the night and I didn't know it?
Right. Yeah, and right? It's absolutely amazing.
It's funny, but sad because anybody that's a desperate addict or got a personality disorder that bad, the stories that come out are amazing. But when you sit down and you listen to a litany of them, one after the other, 50 people later, you're like, wow.
This you read this story though, it is horrifying.
Yeah.
Numerous patients at the Surgicare North Dallas suffered cardiac emergencies during routine medical procedures.
I saw that.
And then another anesthesiologist who had worked there died while treating herself for dehydration. Hangover. Sorry, I just added that. That may not be true.
Maybe she's a triathlete.
Using an IV bag from the facility. Yeah. So that's how I think that's how we got caught.
Could have been a triathlete,
right? But I think that's how we got.
Heck? Like we did that to you when you had your first marathon, and we stuck an IV in you and hydrated. So yeah.
But here's the thing that's so crazy. I think that's how he got caught. Is the other anesthesiologist went and pulled the IV bag off, and she assumes it's normal saline or whatever, right?
It's like, why would it kill her?
Stuffs it in, and then she freaking dies. And they're like, well, holy.
I'm sure they did a toxicology and found it in the solution.
Right. You just match the solution to whatever is in her blood, and you're like, holy crap.
Who's spiking this?
Who's spiking this? And then they go, oh,
let's test
strangely, Dr.
Yeah.
Junior Fernandez or Ortiz.
Junior.
It's only Ortiz's patient. Oh, this guy's 35-year-old triathlete with a BMI of like 11. And he died of a cardiac arrest getting his ACL repaired.
Mm-hmm.
What could it possibly be?
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
There's always.
But 190 years. But he's only going to serve 175 for good behavior, I think.
So he's not going to heaven for a long time.
Not for a long time.
Or hell, because he's going to be in prison. But he might get to put 5 months worth of seed in a saran bag and send it down the chute.
Oh, he may get all sorts of seed. That you never know.
Down a different chute.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hey, so I didn't check this out in depth, but I wonder if you saw it. I'm sure you did on the news. People are going to be freaking out and wondering about the last deadly virus sample that went missing from the lab.
Yeah, I saw that. I have not researched it, though. I have no opinion.
Yeah. Hundreds of deadly virus samples missing from a lab in Australia. And, of course, it's a big security breach. So what is missing is 323 vials of multiple infectious viruses, from hantavirus to stuff that I've never even heard of, Hendra virus, etc. And this Hendra virus, it's an animal to human virus. It's only ever been found in Australia, and obviously think deadly. Same with hantavirus. So on this other list of virus ones that cause rabies. So I don't know how they would just go missing, but of course.
Well, Dr. Ortiz worked there. No, yeah, that story I'm going to have to follow and see how that develops, because a lot of those are terrible bioweapons.
Right.
Because, hantavirus, I don't think it doesn't transmit.
Well, apparently all of them only transmit from animals to humans.
Right. So you can kill one person.
They're still highly pathogenic. I guess you just infect all the animals at PetSmart and stick them on the people at the mall. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just like, what are you going to do with it? But
yeah, I don't know.
But just kind of another crazy thing out there.
All right, let's go to the last story. I'm going to shrink this. Okay. This is so nuts. And I bring this up for a good reason, because this whole vigilante justice thing, get pissed off, kill a CEO of a major company. First of all, in full disclosure, I think UnitedHealthcare is an awful company. If you look at their data, they are double the national average for denied claims is about 16%. They're at 32 or 33. So a third of the claims that they get, they deny, which is completely crazy, right? And it brings up the whole insanity of what health insurance is in the United States. Because it's not health insurance, it's prepaid healthcare. So how is prepaid healthcare going to be cheaper if I take my money and my employer's money and give it to a multinational corporation that does almost $400 billion a year, and then I have to beg them to get my money back to get the care that I want? How is that going to make it cheaper? It's not. And like the interview that we did last week with Andy Schoonover, where he says the four biggest health insurance companies, their total revenues per year is more than the national defense budget. Like, it's completely crazy. You're giving middlemen that do not produce a good or a service. They don't make drugs. They don't do surgeries. They don't prescribe medicine. They don't listen to your heart or chest or pat your kid on the head. They just basically launder money. Okay. But the thing that drives me crazy about this, I get it. I get why people are pissed. I get why people think that UnitedHealthcare is crappy. They get sued all the time. I have spoken with a lawyer that won a $70 million judgment for them for ripping off a group of ER doctors in Nevada. And he's like, I live to make them to go out of business. They are evil and I hate them. Like, that's literally the quote from this guy. Okay. So I get that. But the solution to that problem is not killing random ass people that work for them because you're jealous of their $10.2 million paycheck. And if you give in to those animal tendencies, you will be living in the Wild West or caveman days in 2 seconds. You can't do that. Right. And just the fact that it says, how many innocent people did UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson kill? Well, the answer is none. Because if he actually was guilty of killing people, he would be in jail.
Well,
did he deny care?
You have to get convicted first.
Did he set up a system that denied care that potentially cost people their lives? Probably. But then bring him up on charges. Don't celebrate the fact that he was freaking murdered. Like, you can't give in to this. As much as I agree with these sentiments, and as much as, part of my soul is like, yeah, screw him. Like, F you. You can't do that. Like, that's completely wrong. And it ends awful. It ends awfully for the society, and it corrodes your soul. Yeah. You cannot live in that. You cannot live in the, soul corrosion zone.
Totally agree. I don't have a whole much more to add. I mean, you said it perfect.
I mean, it's like,
well, what he's taking away is the payments. The people he's being killed. They're just not having their procedure paid
all right.
for. So you're still able to go in there and get treatment.
But let's war game this.
This sounds like,
let's do this the other way. Okay. Now I'm charged up. I'm riled. How many people did Brian Thompson save because he denied bullshit American medical care that kills people?
There you go.
He might have saved more people than he killed, because you're assuming denial of healthcare means that it saves your life. Sometimes denial of healthcare in our system freaking saves your life.
So you just said the same thing.
Actually, maybe more often. Oh, you didn't need that bullshit back surgery that gave you a blood clot and killed you. So you know what? You don't know who he killed. So shut the you know what up. Look, bring them up on charges, protest, carry pitchforks and torches and do whatever. But don't celebrate vigilante justice, because that will erode your soul and the entire soul of the country. Like, that is just that it makes me very upset. It's wrong. And again, you can make the argument that denying care saves people's lives.
Probably more often.
It may, yeah. Oh,
nowadays.
You didn't need that worthless bypass, and now you're still alive. But he denied my care.
Mm-hmm. No, it's sadly
true.
True where we're at.
And no one wants to talk about that part. That yes, the system is jacked, but you're assuming that everything that we pay for in healthcare and everything that gets denied actually has a negative benefit. Actually, probably most of what they've denied, because I've worked as the guy that reads the charts and says, no, we're not paying for that. I've worked in insurance, and you know what? Most of what we denied actually is way safer. And you can make the argument, denial of coverage save lives.
Brian.
No, I'm not.
You're the guy.
Because we didn't deny 33% of the claims.
No, I know.
No, but the assumption, you have to challenge the assumption. The assumption is that if you deny a claim, you're harming a patient. And sometimes when you deny a claim,
he's not reviewing the charts and denying the
claims.
No.
But he clearly, you'd read quotes from meetings he was in. He was clearly setting the tone of, there's no question that, I mean, I've worked in the corporate world. The tone is set from the top. There's no question. It's like we're getting eaten, when you're doing billions of dollars a month, realistically, in claims, and you alter that by 3 or 4%, that's 3 or 4% of, $4 billion. That's a ton of money.
So he's the puppet master that tells everybody else.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's other puppet masters.
No, I get it.
But the fact is, to get pissed off about denial of claims means you still actually have bought into the fact that everything we do in Western medicine actually is helpful and not harmful. That, to me, is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
So you have these vigilante, pissed off, liberal wokesters. They denied healthcare. Well, yeah, because most of the stuff that gets denied is either harmful or useless. It's not just money. Like, there's actual real healthcare concerns in denials of care, because, we do these useless MRIs on people's back pain, and then they get a useless surgery, and then they're 3 surgeries into it in the next 15 years, and their back is way worse off if they never had anything done. That's a reality.
Think of all those patients I remember seeing that had 20 plus pelvic surgeries, one laparoscopy and laparotomy after another for chronic pain that was never resolved and probably worsened because of now adhesions after every surgery they had. And
it's
the same thing. Yeah.
No, it's I mean, that's the fact.
So we're not saying that.
I'm not defending. No, I think
that you have to look at the whole thing.
I think the insurance companies are worse than pharma. Like clearly, because in a timely manner, somehow Anthem Blue Cross comes out and says, we're only going to pay for so much anesthesia, per procedure. Each procedure gets a time clock. And if you go over the time clock, we're done paying. Again, the assumption coming from Anthem is that physicians and hospitals are greasing the anesthesia time by a few minutes every case to get more money. Okay. Well, that is absurd and insane, because the goal of the surgeon and the anesthesiologist is to get the surgery done as fast as possible. The reason is fast surgeries have less chance of infection, and fast surgeries have less chance of anesthesia complications. So there's no physician in the world that's going to go, well, I'm going to make an extra $15 if I keep this person asleep for another 20 minutes. That is never in the paradigm. So the assumption of Anthem that you're going to grease a surgery for a little bit longer to make more money makes them actually, the medical term is assholes. So like that, because you have to look at the assumption. The assumption is we're actually extending surgeries for money. I mean, that is so completely nuts. It's just as nuts as assuming denied care or non-payment for care means a worse outcome. It doesn't.
No, but you got to think of, we all knew some surgeons that are slow as heck, where they're taking 3 times as long.
Yeah, but that just means they're a shitty surgeon.
Well, I know, but it's still the time under anesthesia for them to do this procedure that takes them 3 times as long. And so.
Well, and sometimes there's just complications.
That's
true. And so you're doing something that all of a sudden gets really complicated.
Although they're usually getting paid by the procedure, not by the minute.
Right. So. Yeah, but no, of course, the surgeon gets paid by the procedure if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours. The anesthesiologist, there's obviously a time component, as there should be, because they're assuming more risk the longer the patient's asleep, right? I mean, there's 12-hour surgeries. Like, I get that, right? But the assumption in removing that payment is that they could do something different. That you could do something different,
right? Faster.
Well, right. And the fact
cut out some part of the procedure.
There's certain procedures that have complications that are going to take longer, and that's the way it is. Anthem, I mean, this couldn't have been worse timing for them.
No kidding.
Because the spotlight is on how pissed off people are at health insurance companies. And this. And
Fox News everywhere. Like I see it on my Facebook feed from Oregon. It was on the Florida Fox. They're talking there. I think they all get the same topic. It's polling and asking people what their experiences are like with insurance companies covering and paying, and how happy people are with it. So it's all a hot topic right now, obviously.
Yeah, but that move, I mean, denying 33% of claims is really bad. Don't get me wrong. But going after anesthesia, like one thing like that is the dumbest.
That's
like from a political perspective.
Stretch that I
that
can't
is
believe.
Like, if you're that freaking cheap, get out of the insurance business, because you can never make money. Like, it's so nuts. So completely nuts to me.
Well, are you going to share your story about your cup tonight?
My cup runneth over.
Yeah,
yes. I went into Norm's. So if you listened diligently, you know that Norm's is a liquor store that literally is within golf cart driving range of our house, because you don't have to go onto any actual real road to get there, and they put it right next to it.
Well, it's a real road. It's not a
but you don't have to go on a highway.
Yeah.
So and it's next to a subdivision of what do we have? 1,200 houses here.
Yeah.
Largely retirees, and I walk in there, and I was like, it's a Wednesday. They're not going to have any of the sampler people there. Oh no. They have the sampler people. And I was actually going to get some Mermaid vodka, and the Mermaid sampler person is there, and it says, if you buy a handle or 2/5, you get a free Mermaid cup.
Oh yeah, because it's totally worth it for you to get a free cup, isn't it?
And I was like, twist my rubber arm. So there you go. They were out of Fort Myers. They are now out of Zephyr Hills, is where it's distilled. So local. That's very close to here.
And was she wearing that lovely blue fin?
Yes.
The girl?
Yes. So they said.
Was it a mermaid sampling?
Yeah, it's a mermaid. So apparently the legend is that sailors in ancient time, pirates and whatnot, when they first encountered manatees, they thought that they were like mermaids.
They thought they had long, flowing, beautiful hair and big
I'm like,
bosoms.
Okay, that mermaid
looks nothing like a manatee.
No, I look far more like a manatee. and I'm still far more attractive than a manatee. And I'm like, how long were you away from women to find manatee potentially?
They must have had a big case of scurvy or dehydration going on.
Yes, it should be.
Our friend Dave.
Yeah, no, it's
who's
like
been there said
manatee.
It should be called Norm's Liquor
It's just
Warehouse.
like, it's like the Grand Tetons. Okay, the Grand Tetons, the mountains in Wyoming. So Teton is breast. Grand is big. So I'm like, so there's these French voyageurs going across North America, and they're like, those mountains look like gigantic tits. It's been so long. Jacques, you look pretty good to me.
Well, the fact that the name stuck is just mind-boggling to me.
Yes, you go 400 miles to the west, and you go north, and you turn to the south at the gigantic tits. Like, literally, that is.
Well, there are some pretty weird names of places.
I mean, that's
there.
literally how they named those mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Tetons.
Just like the town of
Grand.
Just like
Tetons.
the town of Climax, Saskatchewan.
Yes, Climax.
I wonder how that got its name.
Exit.
Next exit.
I don't know, because if you've been to Climax, it is essentially nothing. It is
Well,
it is very disappointing.
Maybe that's all there is to do there.
Very, very disappointing. You know, we try to keep it on the rails, and we fail every time.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to the Mermaid.
Get hooked. Gotta love it.
Get hooked. I love it how our other favorite distillery, the Loaded Cannon, theirs is Get Loaded at the Cannon. So
well, that's very easy to do.
So I think if I start a distillery, I'm just going to go, please drink irresponsibly, because isn't that the goal?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying that maybe from a marketing perspective, that would be fun.
A marketing perspective.
Yes. And remember, if you buy BS Free MD vodka, please drink irresponsibly, because we know you're going to do it anyways.
Unless, just like watching the show. It was irresponsible.
Watching the show is irresponsible. All right. Well, we've kicked this one to death.
I'm tired. Sorry, it's been a long day. Lots of stuff going on construction-wise here. So my brain's clouded with dust. But luckily, you were able to entertain all and keep things going.
No, I know. I started out slow, and then I got ramped up, man. When that UnitedHealthcare thing, that absolutely grinds my gears. That got me really, really.
A few listeners out there like to share Tim's rants with your friends and like his rant and rave. Please share this episode. Join us every Wednesday night, as we try every Wednesday to do Doctales with Cocktails live. Although I think next Wednesday and the following one, since it is Christmas, will be a little different. Don't know if it'll be live. We'll be updating you on that. Anyway, until then, check out our Thursday podcast episodes with our amazing guests. And until then, we'll see you all next time.
It's no secret that medicine is a bit uptight. That's why Tim and I created BS Free MD, to mix things up a little and have fun in the process. Besides, we are having these exact same discussions all the time, so we thought we might as well invite everyone to the party. If you really like us, you can get plenty more and maybe see one of Tim's cool tattoos on our Instagram or Facebook pages at BS Free MD. See you next time.
While we try to keep BS Free MD as raw and real as possible, we can't be held responsible for any medical decisions or discussions had as a result of what you've heard on the show. We know, bummer. But the truth is, we really do care about your questions. So feel free to reach out to us by email at doc@bsfreemd.com.